The Premier League. It's the greatest show on earth.
Oh, and Gerrard slipped. In comes Wanyama. And Giroud. Why always me?
I will love it if we beat them. Love it.
But how has it become so great? Money.
5.1 billion. Television rights deals.
A £100 million deal.
We understand the fee is £80 million.
But it wasn't always like this.
Football ground is burning down.
What allowed the Premier League to go from this to this? Will you join me as we explore the rags to riches story of the Premier League? "17th April 1888. The Football League is formed in Manchester, England. The brainchild of William McGregor. It started with 12 founding teams, with Preston being the inaugural winners, with his first major breakthrough coming when his first match aired on TV.
Now for the cup final at Wembley. The referee's decision was a penalty. Much takes it. The ball hits the bar and goes in. Cheering. Victory by a penalty may not be the most satisfactory result, but it was the same in 1922, except that this time, Preston hold the cup."
However, problems would soon start to emerge. English football's reputation was being tarnished by the fans of his own sport. It had become plagued with hooliganism.
Clearly, the thuggery of a group of hooligans who could never have claimed to have come along simply to enjoy the football.
We don't want them. I wish we could find them and throw them in the river or something.
These were the worst scenes of violence ever witnessed at an English football ground. 47 people had been injured.
They've got to put them in jail. They've got to. Either that or they've got to publicly butcher.
And in 1985, this would lead to tragedy. During the European Cup final between Liverpool and Juventus, disaster would strike.
It appears to have begun an hour before kick-off when Liverpool fans broke out of their segregated area of the stadium and moved into the area occupied by Juventus fans. Scuffles and fighting began, and it's reported the Juventus fans did try to move away.
In that instant, many people were crushed to death, although at first they were not visible because of the other people piled on top of them. By this time it was becoming clear that a slaughter had occurred. Minutes later, police were carrying out bodies on crowd control fences. It was a full 40 minutes before a proper stretcher was brought in. Other bodies lay unattended on the terrace.
39 people dead, most of them being Italian and Juventus fans, with English fans being held responsible for this tragedy.
I'll tell the truth, Liverpool's team, then, you know what I mean? Might as well tell the truth. You know what I mean? I've seen Liverpool attack all Italian fans.
I tell you, I will never again go and see my team play football.
No way I'll go again. No way. I'm just ashamed. Total disgrace.
This resulted in English clubs being banned from European competitions, and in the process ruining the reputation of English football.
They come here, they get drunk, and then directly or indirectly they kill 40 Italians. I think I would be embarrassed if I was English.
Shame upon Britain was shared by people in number 10, by the Prime Minister.
I wish we could get those responsible, get them before a court and stiff sentences so that they stop anyone else.
English football, rife with hooliganism and old aging stadiums, had many problems and needed reform. But reform would only come after tragedy struck in its own backyard. On the 15th of April 1989, a match between Liverpool and Nottingham Forest, a tragedy was to occur.
It's been a black day for football. On a sunny afternoon at Hillsborough, Sheffield, no fewer than 93 football supporters died in the most tragic accident for the sport ever in this country. They were helped by fellow Liverpool fans. Down at the front, meantime, the pressure was getting worse.
Too many fans had been allowed into the stadium, leading to an influx of fans, causing overcrowding in one of the main stands, triggering panic and mayhem, resulting in people being crushed and trampled, with news coming out that there had been 97 deaths and 766 injuries, bringing about one of English football's darkest days. This tragedy led to cries of reform, leading to the Taylor Report, which suggested that football grounds around the country be switched to all-seater stadiums. Thus, the cost of changing grounds and money disputes added to the problem of hooliganism and the tarnished reputation of English football. This would lead to rumblings of a Super League. What is a Super League, you ask? A league where the clubs in the top division would break away from the Football League and form its own league, allowing the clubs to own its commercial rights and having a bigger cut of the TV deal. And with the blessing of the FA, on the 27th of May 1992, things would come to a head. Having gotten the go-ahead by a court ruling, the league came to fruition. And with this, the Premier League was formed.
It's a whole new ballgame.
The TV rights were bought by Sky for a colossal £304 million, with the first televised match being between Liverpool and Nottingham Forest.
Nottingham Forest versus Liverpool.
This would change the landscape of English football forever. With money flowing in and clubs having more control over their commercial activity, adding to the stricter crowd control measures enforced by the police, it allowed the Premier League to advertise itself as a family-friendly experience, suitable for all. This was done to move football up market, to follow the affluent middle class, and to modernise English football, so it could develop, setting the foundation for the Premier League's global image, meaning a new start lay over the horizon for English football. And from there, the sky was the limit, Man United being the first champions, to the French professor joining the league, to big player signings. The Premier League, with its new financial might, created many special moments, such as the treble-winning season, to the Invincibles,
played 38, won 26, drawn 12, lost none. That's Arsenal.
To the special one,
I think I'm a special one.
with rich billionaires such as Abramovich and Mansour Sheikh clamouring to buy clubs in the Premier League due to the potential it had to become a commercial juggernaut. As the Premier League developed, the TV rights increased over the years, giving the clubs more financial resources. But in 2012, the future of the league would change. An announcement would be made, sending shockwaves through football.
We've realised for those rights £3 billion and £18 million.
A £3 billion TV rights deal for the Premier League, and this deal dwarfed the deals of other competing leagues by a huge margin, giving clubs in the Premier League the financial might that only few clubs in the world could match, allowing clubs to go on spending sprees, giving us scenes like this.
It's a Peter Odom-Wingate situation. Pitching up, and it seems trying to force through this move tonight to get his move from West Brom to QPR.
Harry, great to see you on deadline day. As always, out of your car, always a special moment.
Mesut Ozil is now going to be playing in the Premier League for Arsenal.
And then in 2016, the TV rights deal increased again by 70%.
The Premier League will be paid over £5.1 billion. That's almost $7.9 billion US dollars.
The Premier League's financial might had gotten so big there was said to be a Premier League price for players and a normal price. But we all know what happens when money flows in. Things don't always stay fair. And in the league, there was a divide growing. Let me introduce the Big Six.
Well, the so-called Big Six.
The Big Six clubs:
Arsenal, Manchester United, Man City, Tottenham, Chelsea and Liverpool.
These 6 clubs had revenue greater than the 14 other teams in the league combined, with them having a huge financial pool and were global brands recognised worldwide. So, when there's money involved, and certain clubs feel they should get a bigger slice of the pie, what do you think happens? Greed rears its ugly head, and on the 18th of April, 2021, an announcement was to be made that would shock the world.
6 Premier League clubs are expected to be part of plans for a breakaway European Super League.
This would send shockwaves through football. There had been talks of a European Super League for years, and now was the time for it, during a pandemic, where many people were struggling.
Pandemic has hit vulnerable groups and those living in deprived areas the hardest.
Millions of people are out of work, and we have millions of households struggling to put food on the table.
The European Super League was an idea with the big 6 clubs playing an exclusive league with other big clubs from other countries. This was done to increase revenue and fill their pockets. But the outrage and the far cry to the European Super League was so bad.
Of a European Super League which poses an existential threat to football as we know it.
I think it comes down to money, greed.
This is, for me, a war on football. To make sure that this doesn't go ahead.
But I'm disgusted, absolutely disgusted. It's criminal, it's a criminal act. Enough is enough.
The clubs one by one left the European Super League to save face.
Chelsea, Manchester City,
Liverpool, Manchester United, Spurs, Arsenal. We made a mistake and we apologise for it.
A lot of damage has been done.
So, that's the current story of the Premier League and how it became what it is. It's the biggest league in the world, driven by money. But, hold on, isn't there... Am I not forgetting something? I couldn't end this story without talking about the biggest fairy tale in sports history, now could I? Let me introduce Leicester City, a club located in Leicester. Residing in League One a few years earlier, the third tier of English football, they had just won promotion back to the Championship.
Are the champions!
And had gone close to being promoted again.
Here's Hulk! Dini!
Eventually winning the Championship. And made it to the Premier League, the top tier of English football. While in the Premier League, they had just survived relegation the previous year.
And were bottom of the league in November. They were still at the foot of the table and 7 points adrift with only 9 games remaining.
Surely! Vardy! It's found a way in! It's Cambiasso! It's Spurs! Andy King has scored! The far post. King is in there. It's gone in! That's all Brighton! A penalty miss at one end! Leicester City have done enough. Safety is in sight.
And with the new season starting, they were predicted to be fighting to avoid relegation.
I think Ranieri won't see the season out at Leicester.
If they don't strengthen before the end of the window, I see them struggling.
Ian, who have you got going down?
I think Leicester are.
And Leicester's squad had an estimated worth of £54 million, lower than many teams in the league. However, they had started the 2015 and 16 season well, and were surprisingly in first position.
Only 2 points ahead of Arsenal.
Leicester, top scorers in the league, only team to score in every game, top 2 goal scorers in the league, top of the table.
But it was early, and things would set into their natural order. However, many months later, and they were still there.
I hate to ask this, but I have to. Can they really do it? Well, go all the way and win the tie. They can do it easily. That's a lovely thing.
No matter, they'll fall soon, is what many people say.
I don't believe they can. At the same time, it's fantastic to watch a team. I think they are going to collapse still. History tells you that teams that do this fall away at the end.
You put it on a piece of paper, it looks pretty. It looks like it's possible. Most teams cannot do it in this league for a long time.
But they were still there.
Look at him beyond Nakazaki and squeezed home! It's got clear of Otamendi. Riyad Mahrez! Fuchs with the take. Booth with the header, it's 3!
And then they were still there.
Okazaki!
That is 1-0.
Until you know what happens next.
Back in it. Costa turns Alderweireld. Hazard! Leicester City, champions of the Premier League. The greatest story ever told has its happy ending.
The Premier League is the greatest show on earth. All the ingredients are there. Money, fans, intense passion, and rivalries. Yes, it has a dark history filled with deceit, tragedy, and greed. But that's what makes it what it is today. Whatever you may think of it, it does a lot of good, creating over 100,000 jobs in the country, bringing foreign fans in who come to watch matches, with the league and its clubs adding an estimated £7.6 billion to the economy. Well, that's the story of the Premier League.
I know exactly what you want to do. I said what I said, do with it what you want.
Now William reacts to Danny Rose and Mark Pratt. What must have been really good?
3 for me and 2 for them. Respect.